The circus traveled with over 1,300 workers and performers, 800 animals, and all the equipment needed to put on a performance.
Oh, I know. Look at them all over the house. They have backwards. That's what Jimmy and everything. I want to go see it.
The circus day began before most people got out of bed. By 3 a.m., the first of the 4 sections of the massive circus train arrived in town. Called the Flying Squadron, this section carried the equipment and men to lay out the circus lot and set up the cooking tents.
So I kind of want to walk back up. Yeah, because it's just the train cars.
After the lot was prepared, the final section of the train brought the performers, horses, and elephants to town.
So part of this
One of the runs or ramps were placed at the end of a flat car. Men began unloading the wagons. Here we see the train depot. Here's the cookhouse. Food supplies were ordered in advance of the show's arrival and were delivered to the lot early on the day of the show. 2 barrels of sugar, 226 dozen eggs, 1,300 pounds of fresh vegetables. Here's the dining tent. The lights are dimming and we're going into night mode. Various rest tents were set up in the backyard for circus personnel. And look at the size of that tent. Proportionately speaking. When it was showtime, performers entered the big top through the backside opening known as the performer's entrance. Look at all those animals in cages. Something you won't see today. Some of the most famous centering stars required their own private tents in the backyard.
I saw that. Did you downtown? I didn't, but I thought I'd say that in case I needed something else.
Before the performers arrived, the dressing tent was raised and each performer's trunk was placed in position along with 2 pails of water. One of the favorite attractions of the circus was Goliath. Weighing 3 1/4 tons, the giant sea elephant traveled in a specially constructed water tank on the train. By the early 20th century, the circus was as American as apple pie and baseball. Circus Day in any town or city was an annual tradition, providing a brief escape from the everyday routine. A visitor's first circus experience was on the Midway. The circus lot came alive with sights, sounds, and smells. The front lot was filled with concessions of every type imaginable. Brightly colored pennants and dolls were sold as souvenirs, and live lizards were hawked as fashionable pets to wear on your sleeve. The sideshow banner line, composed of brightly painted images of human curiosities, lined the Midway in front of the sideshow tent. The sideshow, which was sometimes called the Kid Show, was the smallest of the three tents that visitors could enter. Entry into the sideshow required a separate admission ticket from the rest of the circus experience. From the front lot, visitors made their way to the main entrance.
Good night. Okay.
For many Americans, the circus was the first place they saw animals from other continents. Along with the expected elephants, lions, and zebras, visitors found hippopotami, giraffes, and even polar bears. Other exotic animals that might be seen in the menagerie included orangutans, macaws, and kangaroos. Most of the wild animals on display in the menagerie were kept in beautifully carved and painted cage wagons. Fittingly, the performance tent, the largest of all the tents on the lot, was commonly referred to as the Big Top. Performances inside the Big Top were astounding sights. At any given moment, action could be taking place in the 3 rings, on the 4 stages, around the hippodrome track, or in the air above the rings.
These are the expensive seats.
Seating in the Big Top could accommodate as many as 15,000 people.
This guy's crazy.
Performing dogs were often strays or purchased from the pound, because these mixed breed dogs were usually very intelligent and learned tricks quickly.
They had to have mechanics and stuff.
Sitting down next to the car, getting a shoe and standing by the car.
This is the city. This is the city. I love it so much.
The blacksmith department carried all the equipment needed to keep the show moving. Forges and anvils were set up at each lot to allow the blacksmith to repair wagon parts and reshoe horses as necessary. Here we see a little general store and barber shop.
This is like 25.
Along with the performance horses, the circus carried over 400 baggage horses. These strong horses pulled wagons and even helped raise the poles and canvas for the tent. Here we have another view of the train station.
The detail is pretty incredible.
Yeah, along with the performances, the circus carried on. Yeah, but even when the circus comes to someplace like that, it's a big deal having that happen.
Open lots adjacent to the railroad station were often chosen for the circus grounds. With the advent of large railroad circuses, the train depot became a destination point for special excursion trains that brought people to town for the show from the surrounding area.
Trains come in and they offload everything. Yeah, this is amazing.
After each stand, the train master was responsible for organizing the process of loading the circus train. More than 150 wagons had to fit perfectly into the flat cars.
Well, it's just the nut part. What inspires the train? No, I could have sworn that he said 400.
But 40,000 is a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it.
As the evening show began, workers tore down the cookhouse and dining tents. These were packed onto their wagons and hauled back to the railroad yard, where they were loaded onto the first section of the train, known as the Flying Squadron.
It's a fish, but he's got his own cancel.